moment of brilliance for the win.
Yeah.
Can you just give us your thoughts on that goal and also the celebration that ensued?
I didn't realise he was that heavy. He nearly took us right off my bloody feet. Oh, it was amazing. I said today would be a tough game. They're a very direct team, direct second phase. You've got to fight for everything. Two strong forwards. But proud of the lads. I thought they put a shift in again, and our quality came through. We have got that quality, and to do well in MLS, you need your DPs performing at that level. And Lorenzo certainly came up trumps today. But for me, you've got to talk about next man up. Luka Gavrin made a big save. He didn't have much to do, but he made one big save that kept us in the game. And then you think, is Sigurd Rosted, Longy's had to go out at half time and Big Sigs has come in, and, I thought we did well second half with him sort of managing that back line. So all in all, the fans, got to mention them. I think you could feel it was on a knife edge, and I knew this was that game. It's not a game where they open up like the New York Cities or Atlantas. They just stay tight in a shell and play that direct style. So, the fans stuck with us. And when Lorenzo scored, I just felt this is what this stadium can feel like through this season. I think they felt we might be back. We're getting close to it.
Can you give us an update on, first of all, Sean Johnson and then also Kevin?
Yeah, it's been tough, actually. Sean just picked something up in the session yesterday. So he had to get assessed. We couldn't put him on any injury report because he got assessed this morning, and he's still under assessment. They're just trying to figure out, and I'm at that moment where it's just low risk, real low risk on our key players. I'd rather push the next man up. Luka Gavrin actually did well in pre-season in the matches, the moments he played. And he's been performing well this week as well. I'd noticed that. So, we asked Sean just manage himself and let's look to the future as opposed to the here and now. And then Longy's been feeling his calf since the turf. I said to you, lads got beaten up on the turf, and he's just had some tightness all week. So we knew he was touch and go for the game, and he was probably only going to have a half in him. We knew at half time, once he sits in a dressing room, it was going to seize up. So we had Siggy ready. Yeah, all in all, I think those lads stepped in well. That had to replace, and we'll be assessing those players come Monday to see how they're looking for next week. Luckily, it's 6 days to get them ready, Neil.
Been sort of like a common theme, or maybe it's more than one sort of thing that's been in common across the three performances through the first 3 games?
Clean sheets. Clean sheets. I mean, clean sheets, it's hard to get a clean sheet in MLS. Such an open league, and the players told us that you have these crazy 20 minutes in MLS where the game just tends to open up. But there was no way Dean Smith team's going to do that. His team's never going to open up, and for us, we wobbled a little bit. We were too open. I addressed it at half time. Around that 35-minute mark, we came away from our identity, and we bent, but we didn't break again. So that's got to get better. But I think the consistency's been the effort of Federico Bernardeschi. I think he has been just an absolute warrior for us. And then to see, Kobe Franklin coming in, and he had 3 big opportunities. It's just, it seems to be a next man up. No matter who we put out there, we can trust to, 1, put the work in, and 2, deliver it the best they can. And I think that's all I can ask of my players.
30-minute cameo. It's his first competitive action, I think, 15 months. How do you think he did?
What did you think? Yeah, pretty solid. Yeah, he's good. Yeah, pretty solid would be the way I'd describe it. I mean, I think with Matty, he's just his passing ability. You see it. He can control the tempo of the game. Things changed when he came on, but I did think, Prince stretching the line a bit more also helped the stretch within the team. So, Longstaff's building. It was nice to hear the fans. They give him a big reception, so I think they were excited to see him. It's just great to see another Geordie out there fighting for TFC.
was a milestone day for him, I believe, his 300th MLS regular season and playoff game, and 11 years to the date that he made his debut with this.
11 years, it was.
You've coached him for a long time through various teams. Can you just talk about the kind of player you have as your captain and what he's meant to Canadian soccer?
Well, I think, you know, I came to this club to work with him. I said that right from the starting point. You know, I've worked with Sinclair, I've worked with Atiba Hutchinson, just some great people, great humans, and they're right in the core of your leadership group. And if you've got a player with that character, that high level character, like highest standard character, you want to work with those people. So as I say, for me, the conversation coming to TFC, you're going to be there. Are you committed? Will you wear the armband? Are you committed to taking this club back and beyond where it was at? And he was. So with that said, what can I say about Ozo? The hardest working player on the team. Maybe Bernadeschi's just underneath him at the moment. But he is the hardest working player on the team. You see his quality as well. He's going to do all that selfless running. But he can bring the quality in those moments as well. Just you could see his movement and his touch is next level. So what he said at the end of this sort of summarizes him. It's just another step, guys. Just one more step to bringing this club to where it needs to be. And that's his mentality. He's always on. That next step, next step, next step. He's never thinking about the last step. And he's never willing to stand and wait, you know, to be pushed. He's pushing everyone.
John, it's a little bit early to read too much into the standings, but I think that win puts you guys level with Miami. They've got a couple more goals than you guys do. Is this about where you expected the team would be at this point?
We set our goals. I mean, we set our goals. The players set their goals. They've seen the track. They know through this phase, the points track that's going to get them to where we want to be by the end of the season, and they're on track. They're on track. All I'll say is it's process, the effort, the intensity, the desire, but the clarity to fight for that point. I said to you before the game, the guys were so clear. There was so many storylines to this game, and it could have been a bit of a circus for them, but we just brought it to clarity. It's just about getting the points. It doesn't matter how it happens. You've got to trust we've got good players in this team that can make that happen, and if we stick to the process, it can happen. So I'll be saying the same thing all season. Just stick to the process. Yeah.
Said this week, he may have been joking, but he said this week that he texts you more than he does his wife. Do you get a lot of texts from Lorenzo? And if so, can you give us a sense of what the back and forth is about?
Yeah, well, I'm wearing his perfume at the moment, so that you need to ask him about that one. So that's something that yeah, we've had some fun. No, he's a real character, and I think, you know, he's starting to enjoy the club, enjoy his football. He knows that we're trying to get the best out of him. Every player is committed to try and get Lorenzo in and around the ball. I thought they did a good job today, trying to nullify him. But the relationships, he's a top player, and I'm willing to listen to him. I think that's an important part of this. He's got his ideas on tactics, and I mean, the guy's seen more football matches than I've. Yeah, he's forgotten more than I know, I'd say, about football. So I've tapped into that, and I'm really enjoying just the relationship at the moment. At times it's intense. You know, he doesn't give you a minute. He doesn't give you a second. You got to be at the top standard. If you're not, he lets you know. And I've built that trust where I can let him know as well. And I think that's where things are starting to blossom.
You gave Kobe the start today after bringing him off the bench the first two games. First of all, what was the rationale behind giving him the start, and what did you make of his performance tonight?
I mean, Kobe's just a warrior for this club. I love what he brings, and again, he's another player similar to Raul that'll do everything he can to bring the best out of Bernadeschi, and obviously Raul does that for Lorenzo, very sacrificial. But Kobe in training through the preseason for me, he's taken everything on board, the timing of his runs, the tactical piece. He's so tactically disciplined, and you've got to put that around key players. So today was about, given that they have a really narrow back four, it was all about Kobe trying to stretch space for Federico, and then arriving late on the 2v1 on the fullback. And, he's had some big chances through pre-season as well. Soon enough, that goal will come for him. And when it does, I think it'll change everything. So for me, he's just a warrior for this team. And I love working with him because he's homegrown. You need a couple of those fellas in your team.
John, tactically today, talk about the decision of having that front three with Ozil, Bernadeschi, and Insigne. And what did you like? Obviously, you were touching on how tight that Charlotte team is. Was that what you thinking, and what did you like of that front three today?
Yeah, I mean those diagonal runs behind the fullback, the 2v1 moments that we were getting, they weren't going to give you too much through the centre, but you have to invest in the centre of the field against that team. If you just play around the outsides, they defend crosses well, they get 2v1s quickly on your wide player. So, we work with a false nine with Ozil. That was important to just have the extra number around their two screens. And then Lorenzo and Fede in the inside channels, and then Kobe rolling in to allow, Fede to have the width. So for me, what I noticed with that team, if you played in there and you didn't have quality, you were getting hit on the transition, and you were very vulnerable. I needed to put 3 quality players who could handle the ball, to just draw them in centrally, then to be able to work out wide. So, for periods it looked okay, but we were too slow in our build, way too slow. I wasn't happy at half time with the pace of the work across the centre backs into the two midfielders. The two midfielders' distances were too wide. So I think when we fixed that, and particularly Matty coming on, he's a progressor. Like, he has the skill set more to play in that identity, whereas Alo was more of a defensive unit. And we knew first half they were shelling it. We knew they were going to shell it, and we needed that physical presence from Alo. So yeah, it was a tough tactical battle today. Dean's got them well organised. They're going to do well this season.